Hi everyone, a very good day to all of you joining us live. Welcome to Kissflow's Global Demo Day. I am Megha, your host for today, and with me I have our speaker and our expert, Mr. Ramachandran, who's a seasoned product manager who transitioned from an engineering background. He brings with him 7 years of valuable experience in product development, strategy formulation, customer prospecting, and product advocacy. His current role involves managing the process module of Kissflow, which is the most adopted and key revenue generating module of the platform. In today's session, we will help you discover how decision tables can help you build apps. This is going to be a 30 minutes demo where Mr. Ram will be discussing the following key capabilities. Firstly, auto generating output based on predefined rules and conditions. Secondly, quick testing of conditional logic, error handling, and complex business rules. And thirdly, range supported conditional value to deal with complex data. So, before we get started with the session, I just wanted to let you all know that if you have any questions or doubts during the session, at any point, you can keep dropping them in the Q&A box below, and we will answer all of them at the end of the session in the Q&A slot. And we also are giving away a 14-day free trial link at the end of the session. This is only available for this demo because we don't post it on our website or any other page. This is specifically for people who are attending us live on a demo. So this is completely for you guys to go explore the platform after the demo if you feel like how best it could be suiting the your company needs. So this will be shared at the end. So make sure to grab yours. Without any further delay, we can get started with the demo.
Hello everyone, welcome to Kissflow's Demo Day. I'm Ram, a Senior Product Manager from Kissflow, and today we are going to have a webinar on how to use decision tables effectively to maintain and reuse complex and huge number of rules across applications effectively. Developing business logic in formulas and code can be daunting, particularly when dealing with many parameters. This complexity can significantly impact readability and maintainability, challenging managing and updating the logic. A decision table is a simple yet powerful way to represent and maintain thousands of rules to implement business logic within an application. So today's webinar is going to be on the topic of decision tables and how this can be incorporated within the apps that you build inside Kissflow. So during today's call, we'll be seeing a short presentation on decision tables, the whats and whys of decision tables, and then we'll quickly jump into the product demo. So as I said, in a nutshell, a decision table is a compact means of documenting the different decisions or actions to be taken in different sets of conditions. To give you an example, look at the table that's there on the screen. So there are multiple variables that are listed out, and then there is an output that's there in the right side end of the table. So it talks about four parameters. One is outlook, the other is temperature, the other is humidity, and the other is windy. And then there is the rightmost output column which says whether to play or not. So imagine a set of friends deciding on whether to play golf today or not, and the variables using which they are going to decide this is the four parameters that are listed on the left hand side of the table. So there could be multiple plausible values for the outlook column. There could be multiple plausible values for the temperature column, and similarly for the humidity and the windy column as well. So based on all of these plausible conditions and based on the combinations of such plausible conditions, they are going to decide whether they're going to play or not. So imagine if all these four conditions are going to have multiple plausible conditions and the combinations could go on and on forever. And writing such a logic using a formula or even writing it in a code could be very, very complex and very less maintainable. So imagine writing a lot of nested if conditions, how bad it is going to look, what is going to be the readability of such a code. But right now it is just represented plainly and very, very simply in a table format, and how easy it is for you to comprehend the logic behind whether they're going to play or not today. And that is exactly the idea of decision tables, representing complex logics and rules in a very simple and effective manner. Why decision tables? One, as I said, it's we are going to take steps to avoid complex formulas and codes to be written in our application that is going to be developed. Second, readability and maintainability. If at all there is some other developer who is going to come in and look at the logic, trying to understand what you have written, if there are going to be huge lines of code that is nested within each other, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to read. Forget about them, it's going to be difficult for the ones who developed that code, or who the ones who wrote that code. It's going to be very difficult for them to even understand, if at all they're going to look at it some other time. And reusability. So once you have written such a complex logic at one place, you would want to use it across multiple such applications that are created across the platform. So if at all the logic lies in the code of one application, it's going to be redundantly written in other places as well. And whenever you are trying to update it, you are supposed to update it everywhere you have written it as well. So reusability goes for a task when it is incorporated within the code of one particular application. So you would ideally want a modularity where you write it at one place and you are allowed to reuse it across different applications. Logic access to business with guardrails. So this is one another important aspect of decision tables. So typically, when the developers are developing applications, but they are going to incorporate a logic, business rules that is going to be owned by the business teams. Every time there is going to be a change, especially these business rules that we're talking about could be subject to change every now and then at a regular frequency. For example, take a loan underwriting or a rate of interest in a loan underwriting. It's going to change every now and then based on the policies of the bank, or even so from a government body, like for example RBI. So in such situations, the business rules are going to change every now and then, and if at all it is incorporated into a code by a developer, the business teams are required to go behind the developer, asking them to change every now and then. And imagine what that's going to do. Every time a change is required, it's going to kick off a development lifecycle altogether, right from the development phase to the testing phase, and then to the DevOps phase, and then to pushing it to production successfully, and then testing it out on production and making things live for your customers. So the decision table also helps you remove this problem. So it allows the business to gain some control over it without having to get full involvement into whatever is being developed. And fifth is some niche functional provision. So when this decision table is aimed to cater very specifically to maintaining rules and logics, there are some niche functional provisions that could be there to facilitate writing, reading, and maintaining such logic. So we will be going into detail about these niche functional provisions when you're going to look at the demo. So with that, I'll quickly jump into the demo. We'll first see how to create a decision tables within Kissflow. So this is an app inside Kissflow, and this is right now in a dev environment where all of the development activities takes place. Creating a decision table is as simple as just clicking on this plus button and then going to the decision table in the menu and then give it a relevant name. So for the demo purpose today, I'm going to build a very, very simple insurance underwriting app where the app is going to decide what is going to be the premium amount for someone who is trying to register into the insurance agency. So once I've given a relevant name, the decision table has been created, and there is an empty table by default. So you could see that the table is split into two. The left-hand side has something called conditions, and the right-hand side has something called results. So the conditions are nothing but the parameters which are going to decide the results. And results, as the name suggests, it is going to be the result that is going to be sent back to wherever the decision table is consumed. So for our example, which is the insurance underwriting, let me create a couple of variables, or maybe three variables. So first variable I'm going to take is age, and I'm going to define the data type as a number, and I'm going to choose a range operator. So there are two types of operators that you can apply on top of a condition that you are creating. So if it's going to be a single operator, that means that it's going it could either be you're going to define whether it's going to be greater than x or lesser than x or equal to x. But if at all the operation is not going to be exact, but it's going to be within a range, you're allowed to choose the range operator as well. You would be noticing the difference when I create a single operator and a range operator. So for age, right now I'm going to click on the range, and then I'm going to create another condition which is going to say if the person has smoking habits. And for this, I'm going to select drop down, and I'm going to select a list that I've already created for the drop down. And then I'm going to ask if the person has any chronic disease, if at all they have something like that. And again, I'm going to choose a drop down, and I'm going to choose a relevant drop down with the values that are applicable for this particular field. So now you can see there are three conditions that I have created. One is age, and the other is smoking habits, and the other is chronic. And the smoking habits and the chronic disease column are single operator. So it just says equal to. For the age, there could be a lot of options, right? It could range from 1 to maybe like 80 or 85 practically. I cannot define a logic for every single age, or that's not how practically it works. So I group multiple ages together in with respect to relevancy of various stages of life, and I'm going to define a rule for each and every such group of age. So that is where this range operator comes into place. So let's say 0 to 10, 10 to 18, 18 to 20, 18 to 25, and then 25 to 40, and then 40 plus. So these are various ranges of age groups that I'm going to define, which is why I've chosen the range operator for the age column alone. So now that you have defined the input conditions, now I'm going to define the result. So based on these conditions, we are going to return the premium amount that the user is supposed to pay. So it's going to be a premium amount column, and it's of course going to be a number. I have created the result as well. Now that you have defined the columns of the conditions and the results in the decision table, now all that's remaining to do is to write the results, write the rules for each and every combinations of these input conditions we are going to input. So there are three ways in which you can do. One is you can add n number of rows, and then you can just manually input all the combinations by yourselves. Or if at all you have a CSV or a spreadsheet where this information is already available, you can use the import CSV functionality to readily import it into your decision table. Or we have a auto generate functionality which is leveraged on top of the AI technology, using which you would be able to define plausible values for each and every condition, and the system is automatically going to derive all the possible combinations for the plausible values that you are given. For example, in age, let's say I'm going to have ranges from 1 to 10, and then 10 to 30, let's say, and then 30 to 60, and then 60 to 80. And in the smoking habits column, there are three plausible values: none, occasionally, and often. And for the chronic disease columns, it's a Boolean drop down, so it's just going to be yes or no. So now that I have defined all the plausible values for each and every condition, the system is automatically going to generate all of the combinations that are possible with these plausible values. So here you could see. Now all I need to do is just go and define the premium amount for every combination that's there, and the decision table is ready. So for example, I'm just going to put out a couple of values for our testing purposes. So for someone between the age of 1 to 10, and if they are not going to have a smoking habit, and if they have chronic disease, it's going to be 10,000 premium amount. It's just an arbitrary amount. There is no logic behind the amount that I've just put in. And if at all they don't have a chronic disease, it's the premium amount is going to be 20,000. That's what the decision table says right now. That is the underlying principle behind this table. So before you even want to take this decision table live and incorporate it into an application, you would want to test it, right? Unit test it. So we would just test if this decision table is working fine or not. So and you would be able to do that by using this test operation where you would be able to define values into this, and then once you click on test, it's going to give you it's going to compile and run the decision table that you have just defined, and it's going to give you the output here right away. And you would be able to ensure that the decision table is working as per the way you want it to work. And now that we have seen how to create a decision table, how to write values into it, how to use the test functionality, and how to use the auto generate functionality, let's quickly show you how to incorporate this within a live application. So I have created a decision table already for the purpose of this demo, a properly defined decision table that was created already. So here you could see for the same conditions, I have given all plausible values here. And then this is a form where I'm going to let the user input the information that is required for them to raise an insurance request. So it has all the values that is also going to be processed for the calculation of the premium amount. So there is a age field, there is a smoking habits field, and there is a life-threatening diseases field, which is equivalent to the chronic fields that we saw about. And then there is a calculate premium button, clicking upon which it's going to give the yearly premium value. So the way the decision table can be incorporated into this form is there is a provision on this button where we are going to define on the click of this button, run this particular piece of code. So this is a low code functionality of Kissflow where you would be able to write very simple snippets of code to invoke the decision table. So I'm getting the decision table, and then I'm getting all the values from the fields that are filled inside the form. And then I'm going to send these values of fields to the decision table, and the decision table is going to return me with a result which I'm going to populate in the uh, premium field that I have defined inside the form. Let's see how it works. So here, this is the runtime of the application that you have just built. It's a simulation of the runtime. It's not actually the production. It's a simulation that you would want to see before you even push things to live. So here is the form that we just saw. So there is a age field, there is a smoking habits field, and there is a life-threatening diseases field. And this is what your users are going to look at when they are going to fill out this form. So let's say a user is going to fill out the details like the age is going to be 25, and he smokes occasionally, and he doesn't have any life-threatening diseases. And clicking on the calculate premium, it's going to hit the decision table that I had created already. So this is not the decision table that I created for the demo purposes, but it's the other decision table that I showed, which was created already with a very well-defined set of rules and well-defined set of yearly premiums and all the other conditions that were required for the processing of the insurance premium. So it has returned a proper result here. And there was one another point that I was talking about, right? So the age categories, the smoking habits options, and the life-threatening diseases options could change every now and then. So let's say right now for this age and for this smoking habits and for this disease history, the yearly premium is 80,000. There could be a case where your company decides to change the yearly premium for this from 80,000 to 90,000, or maybe put a slash discount on this to, let's say, 10% discount, and it goes all the way down to 72,000. So in such cases, You do not want to run behind a developer asking them to change the logic every now and then, especially when these changes are expected to happen like in a daily fashion or a weekly fashion or a monthly fashion. And the developers are also going to be worried about having to change things every now and then, which is going to kick off the development life cycle altogether, right from the development phase to testing phase and then to deployment phase. So this is one another place where decision tables come in really handy. So the entire decision table that we have just built in the dev environment can be exposed to the business users right within this application itself, and of course with minimum capabilities. What do I mean by minimum capabilities? So here they would not be able to create any new conditions. They would not be able to create any new results. They would not be able to delete or modify any existing results or existing conditions. But what they can do is they would be able to modify the values that are there. So for example, for someone within the age of 20 to 30, and someone who doesn't have any smoking habits and who doesn't have or doesn't have any life threatening diseases, their premium right now is here 30,000. And if at all the policy changes to make this yearly premium 40,000, it's just a click away and done. So the decision table is going to immediately reflect this change without having to kick off a development life cycle. And from this page itself, the business users are allowed to test out this newly updated functionality. And if at all they want to use the import functionality or auto generate functionality to completely rewrite this decision table, they are allowed to do that as well. But it is also ensuring that wherever this decision table is consumed, it's not going to break that down. So the harmony between or the contract between the decision table and wherever it is consumed breaks only when the columns of the conditions or results are modified, like something is either added, something is deleted, or something is modified without any necessary or dependent modifications are done in the place where it is consumed. That is the only place where the contract breaks. But exposing this decision table to business restricts such functionalities. It only allows the business users to do the changes that are not going to disrupt this contract between the decision tables and the places where it is consumed. In a way, allows them to do very minimal changes, but at the same time, very effective changes without disrupting the development flow. So in a nutshell, you could see that we were able to incorporate a huge and complex logic of rules within a form, and the result was fetched in a very low time. It hardly took like 200 to 300 milliseconds for us to scan through all of those rules and then give a yearly premium. Now it was just a sample set of decisions that we incorporated into this application for the demo purposes. So we just took three different parameters to calculate an insurance. But think about the practical use case in some for any application that is going to be built within the BFS industry. It could be banking or financial and insurance companies. So all of the logics that they are going to write is going to involve a whole lot of parameters. Take this insurance management in itself for an example. The real insurance management that we use in our day-to-day lives, it's going to take into account multiple such parameters. It could be more than 5, more than 10. So, and each and every such condition is going to have multiple plausible values attached to each and every condition. So you imagine the number of combinations of such rules that is going to be there, and you imagine if at all you are going to incorporate that into a formula or a code, how complex and how tiring it is going to be. And with the help of decision tables, it's going to streamline this. It's going to make it simple for you. It's going to keep the representation very simple and sleek, and the execution is also going to be very simple. And that is exactly the USP of decision tables. And if at all you are also looking for to build such applications where you are going to look to incorporate huge number of complex rules, Kissflow and decision tables are going to be a really big game changer for you. And if you are wanting to have a more deeper discussion on top of Kissflow's capabilities and especially decision tables, we would be very happy to do that. Please reach out to us if you think that this is going to be useful for you. Looking forward to having more such conversations. See you all on next demo day. Thank you.
That was an amazing session, Mr. Ramachandran. We are open for the Q&A. So if you have any doubts or questions, you can start dropping them in the Q&A box, and Mr. Ramachandran will answer all of them. In the meantime, while the others are dropping in the questions and doubts, I will also be dropping the free trial link in the chat box where you can access it and go register for it if you feel like you want to explore the platform. And yes, I hope this session was useful to all of you joining us. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.